Hi, this is AJ. Welcome to the mini story for tribes. Our last mini story for these lessons. But don't worry, I'll make more lessons in the future. But for now, our last mini story. So in this mini story, what are you going to do? You are going to use your body, your voice, stronger than ever before. This is the last one, so I want you to use it all. When you answer, I want you to yell your answers. I want you to move your arms and your hands. I want you to move your face. Make crazy faces for this story. I want you to use your body. Shoulders back, of course. Breathing deeply, of course. Moving, of course. Jump. Shout. Move. This is it, the last one. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's begin. Tony hated his life. He worked in an office every day. Who hated his life? Tony. Tony hated his life. He hated his what? He hated his life. Did he hate his wife? No, not his wife. His life. Tony hated his life. What did Tony do? How did Tony feel? Well, he hated his life. Every day, what did Tony do? Worked in an office. Every day, Tony worked in an office. Where did Tony work? In an office. Every day, he worked in an office. What did he do in the office? He worked. He worked in an office. And how often did he work in an office? Every day. Did Tony work on Saturday? Yes, he did. He worked every day. He worked on Saturday. He worked on Sunday, 7 days a week. He worked every day. Did he love it? Oh no, hell no, he didn't love it. He hated it. Tony hated his job. Tony hated his life. In fact, Tony yearned to make a difference. What did he want? He wanted to make a difference. He wanted to help people. He wanted to improve people's lives. He wanted to make a difference. Did he want to help people or did he want to hurt people? Well, he wanted to help people. He wanted to make a difference. Who wanted to make a difference? Tony, of course. Tony wanted to make a difference. He wanted to help people. Did he want to make a difference or did he want to do nothing? Obviously, he wanted to make a difference. Tony wanted to make a difference. In fact, Tony yearned to make a difference. Did he want to make a difference a little, or did he really want to make a difference? He really, really wanted to make a difference. He yearned to make a difference. What did he yearn to do? He yearned to make a difference. Did he yearn to make a difference? Or did he not yearn to make a difference? Well, that's easy. He yearned. He yearned to make a difference. He wanted to make a difference. He desired to make a difference, to help. Who? Who yearned to make a difference? Tony. Tony yearned, and he yearned, and he yearned to make a difference. Did AJ yearn to make a difference? No, not AJ. AJ was an asshole. But Tony yearned to make a difference. He really, really wanted to make a difference. He yearned to make a difference. Did AJ yearn to make a difference, or did Tony yearn to make a difference? Tony yearned to make a difference. He really wanted to make a difference. And AJ? No. He didn't want to make a difference. He didn't want to help. He was selfish. He didn't care. AJ did not yearn to make a difference. But Tony did. He yearned to make a difference, so first he went to Africa. And he thought, I will make people happy. What did he want to do? He wanted to make people happy. How did he try to make people happy? What did he do in Africa? Well, of course, obviously, he gave golf clubs to tribes in Rwanda. Of course. What did he do? He gave golf clubs to tribes in Rwanda, to poor tribes in Rwanda. Who did he give golf clubs to? He gave golf clubs to tribes in Rwanda. Where? In Rwanda, the country of Rwanda, which is in Africa. Who gave golf clubs and golf balls to tribes in Rwanda? Tony did. Tony gave golf clubs to tribes in Rwanda. Why? Why did he give golf clubs and golf balls to tribes in Rwanda? Well, to make them happy, of course. He gave golf clubs and golf balls to tribes in Rwanda to make them happy. Oh, that's very nice. What kind of tribes did he give golf clubs and golf balls to? What kind of tribes? Poor tribes. Poor tribes in Rwanda. He gave golf clubs and golf balls to poor tribes in Rwanda. Poor groups of people in Rwanda. To make them happy. Were the people in the poor tribes happy when they got the golf clubs and the golf balls? Were they happy when Tony gave them the golf clubs and the golf balls? No, they weren't. They were not happy. In fact, they got angry. They said, "We don't need these damn golf clubs. We don't play golf. We don't like golf. Go away." Oh no, poor Tony. Poor Tony. He was very sad. How did the people in the tribes in Rwanda feel about the golf clubs? How did they feel? They were angry. They were angry. They didn't like golf. They were angry. They said, "Go away," to Tony. How did Tony feel? Tony was sad. Tony was sad. He wanted to help, but the people in Rwanda, the tribes in Rwanda, all got angry. They were angry with Tony. Who were they angry with? Who were they angry at? Well, they were angry with Tony. They were angry at Tony. Why were they angry at Tony? Well, because they didn't like golf. Obviously, the people in the tribes in Rwanda didn't like golf, so they were angry at Tony. They said, "Go away!" So Tony left Africa. And he went to New York City. And next, he tried to help homeless people in New York City. But he thought, I need to help them learn. I need to help them go to school and make their lives better. So Tony tried to get leverage on the homeless people. He said, "I'll give you food if you go to school." He said, "I'll give you food if you go to school." Who did he say this to? He said it to homeless people in New York City. What did he say to homeless people in New York City? He said, "I'll give you food if you go to school." Why did Tony say, "I'll give you food if, only if, you go to school"? Why? Because he wanted to get leverage on the homeless people. He wanted to get leverage on them. He wanted to get what? Leverage. He wanted to get leverage on the homeless people. Or over the homeless people. He wanted to get power over them. Or power to influence them. Power to change them. He wanted power over them. He wanted to get leverage over them. He wanted to push them to go to school. He wanted to have power to change them. So Tony tried to get leverage on them by giving food only if they went to school. What was Tony's leverage? What was Tony's power over the homeless people? Food. Food was his power, his way of power, his means of power. Was food leverage, using it as a noun now, was food leverage, was it power for Tony? Yes, it was. It was power over the homeless people. Food was leverage for Tony. Food gave Tony power over the homeless people. Did Tony try to get leverage on the homeless people? Over the homeless people? Yes, he did. He tried to get leverage over them. He tried to force them. He tried to push them to go to school. What did Tony try to get on the homeless people? leverage. Tony tried to get leverage on the homeless people. How? How did Tony try to get leverage on the homeless people? Well, by giving them food or with food. Tony tried to get leverage with food. He said, I'll give you food, but only if you go to school. Food was Tony's leverage. What was his leverage? Food. Food was his leverage. Whose leverage was food? Well, it was Tony's leverage. It was Tony's power over the homeless people or on the homeless people. And so Tony tried to get leverage on the homeless people by saying, I'll give you food if, only if, you go to school. Were the homeless people happy with Tony? No, they were not. They were very angry. They said, go away, you asshole. Oh, how did they feel about Tony? They were angry, very angry. They said, go away, you asshole! Oh, did they like Tony? No, obviously, they did not like Tony. They called him an asshole, a jerk, a bad person. Why were they angry with Tony? Well, because he tried to get leverage over them. He tried to have power over them. Tony tried to get leverage with food. And the homeless people were very, very, very angry. They yelled at Tony. They said, go away, you asshole! How did Tony feel? Ah, poor Tony. He was sad again. He just wanted to help. So he left New York. And finally, one day, he realized, aha! He realized that he must ground his efforts to help in love. He realized that he must ground his efforts in love. He realized that he must ground his efforts in what? In love. He must begin with the feeling of love. He must start his efforts. He must start his ideas to help people with love. He realized, I must start with love. I must ground my efforts in love. He must ground his what in love? His efforts to help people, his attempts to help people. He realized that he must ground them in love. Start his efforts with love. Begin with love. Always stay connected to love first. He realized that love was most important. It must come first. Who realized that he had to ground his efforts in love? Tony did, of course. Tony realized, aha, I must ground my efforts in love. He realized that he must ground his efforts in love. He had to what? His efforts in love? Ground. He realized that he must ground his efforts in love. Connect and begin his efforts in love, with love. And so he realized, I must ground my efforts in love. I must start with love. I must always have love first. And so he decided to connect orphans with new parents. An orphan is a child with no parents, no father, no mother, no family. So an orphan is a child that has no family, all alone. And Tony decided, I will help orphans. I will connect orphans with new parents. I will find parents, fathers and mothers, for orphans. Tony decided to connect orphans with new parents. How did Tony feel when he helped the orphans? How did he feel? Well, he felt love, right? His efforts were grounded in love. He felt love when he was helping. When he helped the tribes in Africa, when he tried to help the tribes in Africa, were his efforts grounded in love? No, they weren't. He was not thinking about love. He was not feeling love when he gave the golf clubs and the golf balls. When he tried to help the homeless people, were his efforts grounded in love? Did he begin with love? Did he feel love all the time? No, his efforts were not grounded in love with the homeless people. But when he helped the orphans find new parents, were his efforts grounded in love? Yes, they were. When he helped the orphans and the new parents, his efforts were grounded in love. He started first with the feeling of love, then he helped. And of course, Tony and the children and the new parents were all very, very happy. And that is the end of our final mini-story for these lessons. I hope you have enjoyed all of the mini-stories. I hope you've laughed during the mini-stories. You probably realize they're not supposed to be serious. So you should be smiling when you listen to these mini-stories. You should be shouting your answers. You should be moving your arms and your hands like a crazy person. You should be jumping, moving your body, shoulders back, moving your face. All of this helps you learn more deeply. If you stand quietly and you don't move, you just listen passively, you don't learn deeply. There's a reason I'm shouting. There's a reason I'm jumping right now as I tell you this story. There's a reason the stories are crazy and funny and strange. It's because all of these things help you remember and learn more deeply. The more you use your body while learning, the faster you learn. If you use your body a lot and your voice strongly a lot, you learn faster. You'll speak better. So please, when you review all the old lessons you've done already, when you listen to this one again, when you listen to any English, anything, always remember, use your body, use your energy, use that big smile, use your eyes big and open, jump, shout, and enjoy it. You'll have more fun, and you'll learn so much faster. I will see you again. I hope to see you on the Master Member site where I can connect with you through video. You can see my face. You can see my eyes. You'll see that I move a lot when I speak. So I'll see you on the Master Member site. I will see you on the forums. I've had a great time with these lessons. I hope you have enjoyed them too. See you next time. Bye-bye.